I'm Robert Dafford. I've been painting murals here in Paducah for 26 years. This is the last one. These 10 panels, 200 feet. They present a map of the rail lines from the city of New Orleans to the city of Chicago. And it's taken 3 months to do this summer. And we're glad it's complete. We're pretty happy with it.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know if you can hear this small speaker, but we're going to do our best so that you can you can hear the protocol of this wonderful ceremony. My name is Fowler Black. I'm the chairperson for Paducah's wall-to-wall flood wall murals, and I just want to welcome you and thank you for being present for this proud Paducah moment. This is not just an unveiling of a chapter of Paducah's rich history and transportation through the railroad and the pivotal role that Paducah played through the railroad, but this is a long-awaited moment. I think 26 years to be exact, where we capstone one of Paducah's most transformative projects. A project that is perhaps the greatest testimony to Paducah's wonderful attributes. To name some, the pride of our people, commitment to excellence through passion. It's not an outsider that's going to come and perform it with the same passion for excellence. A powerful gesture of hospitality to our guests and visitors. Resourcefulness, a city using what it's already got to achieve an extraordinary new purpose, what I like to call adaptive reuse. And of course, long-term vision. So let's rewind back to 1995. And it was the fall of 95, and world-renowned muralist Robert Dafford from Lafayette, Louisiana, as he says, Lafayette, was invited to Paducah by then Mayor Jerry Montgomery to tell us if our west-facing wall could even be a candidate for painting. Kelly Hack worked in the city planning department at the time and coordinated the visit. Many generations of Paducans that are no longer with us have played some of I suppose the most pivotal roles in the development of this project. Ed and Joanne Hank, and Dick and Barbara Babbitt. They had seen one of Dafford's murals in New Orleans, a multi-story clarinet in its downtown. Many of you have probably seen that. And they also witnessed murals in Portsmouth, Ohio. And after much consideration and Bill Schrader's input, they thought Dafford might just be the artist that we needed to document Paducah's history on our wall. And is Robert?
He's on the carriage.
Hey, Robert! Oh, sure, you delivered Robert just in time. Excellent. Robert Dafford, ladies and gentlemen. Come on up here, Robert. It was the spring of 1996, and the city commissioned Robert to paint our downtown flood wall. A list of about 100 subjects was created by an all-volunteer group, an advisory group, and that consisted of historians and artists and architects and downtown businessmen and businesswomen, and of course city representatives as well. Robert arrived with his team and began painting. Of course, they were painting only those murals that had sponsors. Each mural was funded by the private sector. And this, I didn't mention, as one of the great attributes is a public-private partnership, and one of the great testimonies of the power of doing a tango with public-private projects. So at this point, going back, how many of our original board members that continue to serve on the board today are here with us? Raise your hand or stand up. I know Dick Holland, Jack Johnston. I know Roe is out there somewhere, of course. Of course, Roe is our mighty director. Thank you all for your long-term vision as well. Again, it takes passion to finish a multi-decade project, and a project that includes fundraising and asking people for money. Truth be known, behind the scenes, Bill Schrader was doing that as well. And he was persuading his friends and colleagues to step up and get involved. And they did. Sponsors continued to surface through the decades. Bill's bride, Meredith Schrader, is she here? Meredith? Meredith is here today. She knows what really went on behind those closed doors. Thank you, Meredith, for encouraging us then and continuing your present support for the wall today. Thank you so much. By the summer of 2010, the last of the original 50 images was painted. The Boy Scout mural just on the other side of the caboose here was the last. And Herb Rowe, many of you know Herb. Unfortunately, he's not able to be with us today. He's trying to finish a project that he has a deadline in October. So, but Herb was the one that painted that mural, and he has been, Robert, correct me if I'm wrong, he's been with you since the beginning of this project almost.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he was here at the beginning.
So Herb Rowe and Robert Dafford, and of course now Miguel. Is Miguel here with you? No. But Miguel, certainly I saw Miguel spending some really hot hours here between two partitions where no wind would reach to finish this last 10 mural set. Robert returns each year and he repaints and refurbishes, as we all know when we see the scaffolding. He was here for 3 months and left last week and is now returned back from Lafayette. And as much as the wall-to-wall group hoped that the panels behind the train would someday be painted, we also knew who in the world, in the right mind, would sponsor panels that were hidden. Well, last November, Ken Wheeler, Ken, are you here? Yes, thank you, Ken. Ken Wheeler approached Roe Morse, and Roe Morse is the honorary executive director of this project, and told her he had heard that there was a rail map that our board, the advisory board, wanted to paint behind the train. He knew it was going to be a challenge to find the sponsors, and he went ahead and put a little investment in himself to get it started. And he gave $10,000 for the first panel. She showed him the map and was encouraged, but knew that 9 more panels still needed to be painted. Behind the train would take some creative fundraising. And Ken gave Roe some tips on fundraising. This project has been blessed, really. Financial support has always come in when we've needed it. We haven't really had to hit the road too hard doing cold calls. But this one was a new challenge to seek funding. A couple of days later, Roe got a call from Paducah Bank saying a lady had made a donation to the Dafford floodwall murals, and they could meet her at the train to give her the check and to find out more about the project. Well, that visionary donor, that long-term vision attribute I mentioned earlier, had always dreamed big for Paducah. And she was our former mayor and longtime board member, Jerry Montgomery. She had directed her family to give Paducah Wall to Wall the exact amount that it was going to take to complete all the paintings behind the train. Sadly, yes. Thank you, Jerry and Wally. Sadly, Jerry passed away the following day. That was November 17th of last year, and her family honored her wishes. Jerry and Wally Montgomery raised 3 children in Paducah, and they are following the example of their parents' lives with service to community. After Wally passed in 2019, Jerry lived in a condo downtown and was able to see the murals on a daily basis. She always loved her river town, and today, thanks to her vision and the desire to complete the project, we celebrate by unveiling the railway map, depicting the rail lines from Chicago to New Orleans, Paducah being a pivotal halfway point. We're also the pivotal halfway point between Louisville and Memphis, intersecting in Paducah. And we relied on a group of railroad experts to find images and learn details about Paducah's rail history. And at this time, I'd just like to say their names for their contribution. The consultants were John Deming, Bob Johnston, Jack Johnston, Tony Reck, and Alan Rhodes. Let's give them a hand. Jerry and Wally Montgomery's daughters, Kathy and Evelyn, are here today to unveil their parents' gift to Paducah. So, to take down that veil, we're going to encourage everyone to join in on the Paducah song, which is in your insert there. And I think the wind may have its way with the veil, so this won't probably take long, so let's just sing the first stanza together. Here we go. All right. Are you all in place?
I think so.
I'll give you the starting pitch. Pa Paducah, Paducah, if you want it, you can rhyme it with bazooka, but you can't poo-poo Paducah. That's another name for paradise. Paducah, Paducah, just a pretty little city in Kentucky, but to me it rhymes with lucky. When I'm looking in your 2 blue eyes, we'll sing the whole thing. Tulip time, we get excited over tulip time, but we're delighted over julep time, because I happen to love a resident of Paducah. Come on, ambassadors. Paducah. If you want it, you can rhyme it with bazooka, but you can't poo-poo Paducah. That's another name for paradise. All right. Evelyn and Kathy, thank you for unveiling the first of those 10 panels. We have a gift for you now to remember this day, and we'll get Jack Johnston to come up here. Robert Dafford and Herb Rowe sketched this map during Barbecue on the River in 2016. Sitting under a tent and autographing books, they gave us the vision to complete the project. This symbolizes how dreams begin, and your mother, Jerry Montgomery, was all about making those dreams come true. Thank you. We appreciate you and your family. There you go. Thank you all. Well, we want to hear from the master muralist himself. This is Robert Dafford of Dafford Murals. Robert, thanks for for coming back from Louisiana to be with us today. You arrived at the end of May this year, I think, and you taught your first murals master class with the Paducah School of Art and Design. Paul Aho is probably out here somewhere. And you've been painting along with Herb and Miguel. And what has it been, 3 months? Almost?
This summer, yeah, 3 months. More than.
And you left last weekend to go to Portsmouth. And Portsmouth, was Portsmouth the first port with murals, with
No.
your murals? Which port on the inland waterways was your first
Well,
port?
yeah, first on the Ohio River.
Okay.
Well,
okay.
actually, Steubenville was.
Steubenville.
I
Okay.
had worked in Steubenville in the 80s, and Dr. Chavity saw my work up there.
But Paducah was up there in the top quarter, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
This is the
It was your
best.
favorite.
Yeah.
Well, thank all of y'all and everyone who lives here. All the citizens of Paducah have been so kind to us and have liked us and welcomed us and made it a lot easier to work. People bring us water or tea or give us encouragement and thank us and pat us on the back. And that's all been really helpful. Sometimes it's really hard out here. This summer was really tough. It was over 100 degrees back there every day between the train and the wall. We had to take off a few hours every day after lunch because it was so hot we just couldn't go on. So it stretched out a little bit. We ended up being here 3 months. It's the longest period we've been here. But we have been coming here every year for 26 years and working as hard as we can to get these done. Now the older ones we've been repainting in the last few years. Some are 15 or 20 years old that need work. And we'll be back every year doing that. You've thanked Jerry Montgomery, but I wanted to thank her for imagining this and all of the other parts of Paducah's future that she got up on the board and got them in action. And she found Roberta Morris, her best friend, I guess, who was a dynamo about getting all of this downtown revitalization going and rolling with the help of a lot of other people, Tourism Bureau and downtown development folks. You have one of the most successful downtown revitalizations going on, and I'm really proud to be a big part of it. It's been really meaningful to me to be a part of this. Now you've become a UNESCO Creative City with the results of all these dovetailing projects that made you truly a shining star on the river, like they used to say. We worked, I said, with Herb Rowe. I met Herb in Portsmouth, Ohio in '92, and he had been working with me several years before we came here and started this. And Herb became a truly integral part of this whole project. In fact, towards the end in the mid-2000s, I was so busy with Cincinnati and a couple other places, Herb ended up kind of taking over. We would confer on design. He was certainly capable of putting them up. Most of the murals on the far end were done by Herb, with my help with some of them. He was busy restoring the telephone mural and the Mules mural and the Civil War mural, while I started on this project with participants from our first master class at PSAD. And it was really fun. For about a week, we had 10 or 12 people out here every day with us every day, and they worked really hard. You wouldn't realize that there's at least 4 layers of paint. There's a layer of Thursil and 4 layers of paint on every panel before you see any art at all. Each primer gets a little more closer to the colors it's going to be, but we end up with a lot of paint, and that's a lot of labor to cover 200 feet of concrete with 4 layers of paint. It was a lot of work. And they all enjoyed it. Several of them came back. Debbie French is one of the artists in the class. She lives in Princeton, and she came back and worked several times over weeks of time to help. And Shannon Kelly came several times from Eastern Tennessee to work on this project with us. Then there were a number of others, of course, Miguel LaSala and Mark Manalo. So I think that's about most of what I have to say. I'm just really happy that all of the all of the people who live here like it. People always ask me, well, what are you most proud of? It's not that I'm proud of it, it's that I'm happy that it's working. It's doing what it's supposed to do. And we have to thank the city some for this too, for their constant support all along and for helping with the maintenance. And there's a whole new lighting thing coming, which I think we're going to hear about.
Yeah.
And I'm just as happy as I can be about all this and all your support and how it's turned out. I'll see y'all again next June.
We mentioned a public-private partnership, and that of course involves the city. But I have to give some great credit where credit is due to WKCTC for this last piece of the puzzle. Again, using creativity, using what you've got to raise your city's stock. And WKCTC is something we've got in spades. And so the partnership of the school, Paducah School of Art and Design, and Anton Reese, and the leadership of Paul Aho, in combination with Mural, Dafford, gives us an opportunity for longevity. Do you plan on painting until you're 90?
Oh, well, until I fall off the scaffold.
Okay. Well, hopefully we have some masters in the making with this wonderful masters workshop that we have going with our own WKCTC. So another wonderful partnership that's been here all along has been with the city of Paducah. And this is where I would like to introduce our city manager. And we know that he has had to be involved with this plan. You mentioned lighting. There is probably a longevity sustainability plan for lighting as well, but we couldn't do that without the city of Paducah. So please welcome City Manager Darren Jordan.
Thanks, Darren.
Thank you, and welcome. It's great to see everybody out here today. And I guess I would be a little remiss not to also say that I'm going to keep us on track to Dr. Reese there. It'll be here. The train track's up here, but it's not as good as yours. I'll work on it, but I was trying to. Yeah. So, but on behalf of the mayor, Mayor Bray, who couldn't be here today, he sends his regrets. But in our commissioners that are here, Mayor Pro Tem Wilson, Henderson, Guess. I don't know if Commissioner Galt was able to join us or not. Our 300-plus city team members. I am proud to represent the city here today, to be with you this great momentous occasion. And we've heard a lot about vision. And projects like this don't occur without VIPs. And when I talk to our team about VIPs, I talk to them about people that have vision, that people that have inspiration, and that people that have perseverance. When you talk about a project going 26 years in the making, it takes a lot of VIPs. And we've recognized those that are not here today, but those that have gone on before us. And we hopefully, with that collaboration, we're building the next generation of VIPs. Mr. Dafford mentioned the partnership. We talked about lighting. The city will be engaging shortly on an RFP process to replace all the lights, the ground lighting for all the murals up and down, to be able to showcase the great work and for longevity's sake, and to continue with that partnership on the city's part and that public-private partnership. So we're hopeful that the RFP will be released in time to where we can do that and have it for the holiday shopping season. So that's our goal and our intention. But those of you that have known Ro much longer than I have, I got to meet her about maybe quite not a year ago, right after I shortly having the honor to become the 30th city manager here in Paducah. But you know that she is one of those VIPs that I talked about. She does have vision, she does have inspiration, and she does have that passion and perseverance to keep it going. But she came and talked to us about how can we continue to showcase this great work of art, this great calling card for our port here in Paducah. And it was very easy for us to see that vision and get on board. So we're happy to continue that partnership. So again, thank you for everybody that's had a hand in that. Thank you on behalf of our team members that continue to work on your behalf for this to be such a great asset for our community. Thank you.
Thank you, Darren. And I must say that there always has to be a delivery. You know, if you've got a project like this and you can't communicate it directly to the visitor or to the children who might see it on a field trip. By the way, I call this Paducah's diary. And there is no better book for local history than these portraits of our past. So in order to do that, our wonderful Paducah ambassadors are the front line. And so thankfully we have some extraordinarily talented people who can articulate that. And one of the chairperson for tours for the Paducah ambassadors is Robert Warden. Robert, would you stand? Robert has created a certified mural tour, and that helps us to ensure that quality delivery. Because if you just look at the bronze placard, that's awesome information. But when the museum turns into a living history, that's when it really gets good. And that's what we call immersive. And Robert, you have been able to pull that off. Tell us how you did it.
Duh. Let's see. I begged and pleaded, and I got a lot of volunteers willing to take some training and learn. And then we learn by experience. One of the things we learned this year was that Herb Rowe has a personality. He had a sign. Says, if you're going to ask a question, ask somebody in red. For years, he's been very kind. So is Robert on signing and autographing the books wall to wall. People have gone to him. And this year, there was a pressure to get things done. And Herb Rowe was trying to do his best to accommodate that. But our ambassadors, we do have the certified tour guides. They're trained in several different types of tours. We've got people that are just greeters that meet and greet the boats that come in. And we've got ambassadors that just come down here for the fun of it because they got nothing else to do except stand in the heat and talk about the wall. During COVID, for example, nobody came. Well, there was a couple from New Zealand, and there were two couples from Italy. We had several people from London and Germany and Austria during COVID. During a normal Saturday morning, that's tomorrow morning, Donnie Chumler's looking for probably people representing 17 to 20 states being here looking at the murals. When they get off the boat and they're walking up the hill, they're headed to the museums, and we've got 5 wonderful museums around here, but they'll say, where are the murals? Every bus tour that leaves starts and stops with the murals. You've met the people that did the work, that paid the money, that put the time in. We get the fun part. We get to share the joy and experiences and our learnings about the history of our city. And all we can say is thank you for allowing us this opportunity. It's a joy for us. Thank you, Valor.
Thankful for the cloud cover at the moment. I swear we're almost done. And so you can get a nice up-close look at the freshest murals that we have. I do want you to point your attention to the back of your fan. You don't necessarily have to stop fanning yourself, but be sure and look at that paragraph of names. There is no way that we could ever thank every person who has given to this project. And of course, those who have gone before us, as Darren said very well. But have a good look at this when you get home. You yourself may be on it. But this project, as Robert just said, is on the backs of our own people, pride of our people. And that, I think, is what is most telling to the people who experience it. So thanks to all of you who we didn't name by name, but have given your resources to this project. Thank you. Lastly, I do want to give a shout out to Roe Morse, who is a silent servant, maybe not silent all the time, but is definitely a servant. And she has volunteered an uncountable amount of hours to make this happen. And it's been that way since the beginning. Everything from returning scaffolding to Kitmo to, to learning fundraising lessons by Ken Wheeler. So, bro, you are, I think, the best word I could think of for you is a keystone. Thank you. All right, now we get to stroll the mural map. Robert is going to check out his newly completed map, and everyone is welcome to join. Also, Dick Holland and Morgan Walker and Jack Johnston have cookies and lemonade over here if you have not yet imbibed. Thank you all for what you've done to raise Paducah stock. Thanks for being here.
Paducah, Paducah, if you wanna, you can rhyme it with bazooka, but you can't poo-poo Paducah. That's another name for paradise. Paducah, Paducah, just a pretty little city in Kentucky, but to me it rhymes with lucky when I'm looking in your two blue eyes. Tulip time, they get excited over tulip time, but I'm delighted over julep time, because I happen to love a resident of Paducah. Paducah, if you wanna, you can rhyme it with bazooka, but you can't poo-poo Paducah. That's another word for paradise.
Paducah, Paducah, if you wanna, you can rhyme it with bazooka, but you can't poo-poo Paducah. That's another name for paradise. Paducah, Paducah, just a pretty little city in Kentucky, but to me it rhymes with lucky when I'm looking into two blue eyes. Tulip time, they get excited over tulip time, but I'm delighted over tulip time, because I happen to love a resident of Paducah, 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 Paducah. If you wanna, you can rhyme it with bazooka, but you can't poo-poo Paducah. That's another name for paradise.